There's a group called the Hebrew Israelites that have all this false doctrine.
For those in the bondage of racism, we need freedom, freedom. I'm a survivor, I'm gonna make it. I'm a survivor, keep on surviving.
Y'all, I'm out of breath because we sing Beyonce in church. Holy cow.
What can you tell me about the progressive nature of Grace Cathedral?
I think a lot of the people who show up tonight are people of color, LGBT people, people on whom other people's narratives have been projected. And I mean, just to be honest, the church hasn't been the best about lifting up those voices.
Is this a coincidence that the Roman Catholic Church have made a monumental shift in their approach and how they reach out to the Black community, and more specifically by way of their Beyonce Mass? Here's a quote from an article titled, "There are more Black Catholics in the U.S. than members of the AME Church." What drew me to this article is Pastor William Majors, who is the pastor of Boom Church. In his rebuttal to G. Craig Lewis's generic assumptions about the Hebrew Israelites, he gave startling statistics about Black membership in the Catholic Church versus the AME Church. So here's a few bullets that may surprise you. During the first half of the 20th century, you get a rise in the Black Catholic population by over 200%. And you also have a shift in the center of Black Catholic populations from the coastal South to the urban North, where the seeds of the Black Empowerment movement are planted.
And Beyonce is the perfect passage to get that message out there.
Honestly, I think Beyonce is a better theologian than many of the pastors and priests in our church today. That is not an exaggeration.
According to a recent Gallup poll, Catholic church attendance has gone down nearly 40% since the 1950s. But tonight's Beyonce Mass is set to draw crowds in the hundreds.
Catholics at the beginning of the Second Council are beginning to get more leeway in terms of experimentation and ritual practice. That's happening at the same time that ideas about what it means to be Black are coming to fruition in the Black Empowerment movement, with people saying we are connected to African descended people from across the world. The Second Vatican Council, which is called the 21st Ecumenical Council of the Roman Catholic Church, from 1962 to 1965, announced by Pope John XXIII on January 25th, 1959, as a means of spiritual renewal for the church and as an occasion for Christians separated by Rome to join in search for reunion. So within this council, leeway was given in terms of experimentation and what they call ritual practice. And so those summoned to the council included all Catholic bishops and certain other church dignitaries invited to this counseling session, but without the right to vote, were a number of observers from the major Christian churches and communities separated from Rome, and a number of Catholics called auditors. So let's continue to highlight more interesting points within this article. So, to African descended people across the world, what it means to be Black is to be rooted in this Afro-Protestant Black church tradition. What it means to be Black is to have this distinctively Black spirituality. In the context of the Second Vatican Council, what it means to be Catholic is to integrate those things into Catholic life.
And though I don't consider Beyonce to be a religious symbol, like some of her most ardent fans, there's no denying her strong use of religious symbolism throughout her music and performances, paying homage to everything from female African deities, the Last Supper, Black Madonna, and the Virgin Mary herself. I spoke with Reverend Yolanda Norton, Beyonce fan and organizer of the event, to find out where the idea came from to mix Beyonce with the Bible. To mix Beyonce with the Bible.
The event was born out of a class that I teach called Beyonce in the Hebrew Bible. So I walked them through this process of thinking about how the music of Beyonce helped us have conversations about Black women and how we worship and our spirituality. I love it when she says, you know, I'm a train wreck.
I'm a train wreck in the morning. I'm shit in the afternoon.
Right?
I'm a shit in the afternoon.
So what we do in the worship service is we make that about a conversation that we would have with God.
We live in a world where a mostly male church debates whether or not women should be ordained, but Jesus chose Mary of Nazareth, a woman of color, and another woman of color, Mary of Magdala.
One of the things that's been very important to what they have labeled Black spirituality is the gift of speaking in tongues. The Catholic Church is now allowing their members to embrace the gift of tongues.
Even a religion as traditional as Roman Catholicism now accepts speaking in tongues. Charismatic Catholics, as they call themselves, now even have the Pope's blessing.
It's real freedom, I think, because it's like the expression comes, there's only so many ways you can say, God, you're so awesome.
Claire Gelman prays in tongues at St. Veronica's Church in New Jersey.
It's a language you've never cursed in or said anything horrible in, and it's his language, and it's more perfect.
The question is, why? Because most of the Pentecostal denominations point to the Azusa Street revival as the catalyst of the worldwide growth of what many refer to as the charismatic movement, led by Pastor William Joseph Seymour. Here's the last bullet I want to read from this article. You write that there are 3 million African American Catholics in the U.S., which means there are more Black Catholics than members of the African Methodist Episcopal Church, which probably would surprise a lot of people. So let's go to the etymology dictionary and let's define the word ritual. This word means related to religious rites, religious observance, or ceremony, customs, usage. Here's the Oxford Dictionary of the word ritual. It means a religious or solemn ceremony consisting of a series of actions performed according to a prescribed order. For example, ancient fertility rituals. Again, is this a coincidence that the Roman Catholic Church Council agreed to host and spearhead this Beyonce Mass? Is it a coincidence that the Catholic priest says God is a lot more comfortable in trusting his power and authority to women of color than the church? See, their tactics comes directly out of the playbook I call G35. In other words, Genesis chapter 3, verse 5.
What is very clear to me is that God is a lot more comfortable in trusting his power and authority to women of color than the church is.
I've been asked time and time again, why Beyonce? I believe that she reminds us that sometimes you have to do your thing your way. You don't do it on demand. You don't do it for your oppressor. You don't sing when they want you to sing. You sing when God tells you to sing. Never give them your song. Beyonce didn't become Beyonce on her own. I'm not standing in front of you because of anything that I've done.
Lucifer, dawn of the morning, I'm gonna murder, murder. Jesus. 666.
I would like to make my ministry headquarters in Ghana.
Tele-evangelist Juanita Bynum raises brows with tongues prayer on Facebook. And this is a couple of bullets from the article. Pentecostal tele-evangelist and self-professed prophetess Juanita Bynum has sparked curiosity among some internet users in the Christian community for several comments on the minister's Facebook page where she appeared to type in tongues. I encourage you guys to research this as well. In the third post, published about a minute later, the tongues text started to appear. Gird them up in the spirit, give them a mind to pray like never before. We call on you. Jesus, you are our help and our hope. Then she closed out here where it says at the bottom, you, God, you are our help and our hope. Let me break down what's highlighted in red. So let's break this down, starting with the first three letters, Kun. In Hebrew, the word kun means to be erect. It means to set up, establish. It means to confirm, direct, faithfulness, fashion. All right, so we dealt with the first three letters. We know that that is a Hebraic term. Now, let's focus on the next set of letters that's highlighted in red. You see H, S, T, N, S. For those of you guys that are familiar with Hebrew, you're going to recognize these letters. You should recognize these letters. I'm going to stretch these letters out. Now I'm going to fill in these letters with a vowel. Ha, satans. In Hebrew, ha is an article. It transliterates into the word the or the. This is the definition of the word Satan. It means to attack, accuse, be an adversary, resist. So we just identified Kun, Hasatans. Now let's deal with the last set of letters, VHGN. In numerology, VHGN has a life path of 6. It also has 6 positive traits. It also has 6 negative traits. So according to numerology, VHGN has a life path of 6. It also has 6 positive traits and 6 negative traits. So according to the scriptures, VHGN has the number of the beast, which is the number of a man, 666. Let's go to Revelation chapter 13, verse 18. It says, here is wisdom. Let him that hath understanding count the number of the beast, for it is the number of a man, and his number is 666. So again, it's the number of the beast, for it is the number of a man. On the 6th day, this is coming from Genesis chapter 1, verse 26. And God said, let us make man in our image, after our likeness, and let them have dominion over the fish of the sea, and over the fowl of the air, and over the cattle, and over all the earth, and over every creeping thing that creepeth upon the earth. So on the 6th day, the man Adam was made. What Juanita Bynum is actually saying in her typing in tongues is Be erect, set up, establish, confirm, ordain, Hassatan's positive and negative traits you got. And so if we want to take it a step further, it means be erect, set up, establish, confirm, ordain, Hassatan's mark you got.